Welcome to the Solo Trainer Podcast, the podcast for independent personal trainers, solopreneurs. For those that are thinking about taking the leap from the gym, for those who already have. And this episode is a little bit different. I'm having a live coaching conversation with a trainer who is just a few months into her business. And we're going to help her navigate some challenges that you have when starting from the ground up. So, welcome, Mimi, to the Solo Trainer Podcast.
Thank you so much, Jen. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
I'm so glad that you're here. I appreciate you coming on and sharing people your story and your journey. I'm sure they'll be learning a lot from it, hearing from someone that's probably going through something like they are. So, just to give you a little bit of information background on Mimi. Mimi, she is a personal trainer in Montgomery County, Maryland, which is not very far from me at all. Just right in this, what we call the DMV area, the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. And she specializes in working with seniors and people with disabilities. And what I found so special about your story, Mimi, I'd love for you to share a little bit more about, if you don't mind, is that you're very inspired by your sister. So I'd love for you to share how you're inspired her, what's led you that, where in your sort of mission for your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my sister and I have been working out for years. Like, we would go to the gym together. We did at-home workouts during the pandemic. We would go on walks in the park. And I just love how she is just open to doing anything. She's a huge inspiration for me. And part of the reason why I became a trainer is because even small increments of progress can mean so much to people. And that was part of the reason why I want to work with people with disabilities is because, even like adding an extra pound of weight is so much progress for them. And it makes me feel like any sort of change that I'm doing means a lot. Like I don't need to make huge leaps when, something small as adding an extra weight is so much. So, yeah, she's a huge reason why I became a trainer, because I want people to have that sense of accomplishment and sense of progress that they're making in their life. And I think everyone, no matter what ability they have, deserves to live a happy and fulfilling life. And when it comes to, working with seniors, I just love how they have so much, stories and wisdom. And I learned so much from working with them. Um, and I learned so much from all of my clients. With every new session, I see the progress that they're making. And I love just hearing from them, hearing their stories. So,
That's what makes
yeah,
like our jobs so rewarding. It is based on
yeah,
like the life how life-changing it can be from someone, and it, like you said, it just the littlest, smallest progress, what can seem little and small to, like, the average individual is not to some of the demographic that you're talking about.
yeah.
And I just love it that how your sister has become a big heart and reason for this. And that was one of the things that I saw when you were said that everyone deserves an opportunity to like have a healthy life. And you want to help those that it's more of a struggle and a challenge for them to do that, to do that. So kudos for your passion and that you have for this. And um, I'm I'm excited just getting to know you, but hopefully as you go along in your journey of hearing how you impact other people for like that. So that's awesome. So Mimi, like it's been in business. You said you've been working for or trying to build your independent business about 4 months. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's only been I've only started it for yeah, the past 4 months, and I'm also working two personal training jobs at the same time. So the time I have to work on my business is very limited to, any gaps of time that I have in between training sessions, weekends. So yeah, I'm really still in the early stages of,
Okay.
finding my own clients.
And Mimi's looking for some kind of guidance on how to grow and build her business when you don't have a lot of money when you get started. So how can you grow your business without having to invest in either networking groups that sometimes cost money or advertising. So, what are some ideas that she can get to help gain herself some more clients? And that's kind of a going to be sort of our goal to sort of see what we can help her um, ideas she can come with to grow her business that way. Does that sound good? Does that sound right?
Yes.
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 Okay. Awesome. I would like to get a little still more clarity about your business and what your goals for it because you're working two other jobs. So, do you
Yeah.
mind diving in a little bit of like what your ultimate goal is, for your personal training business?
Yeah. So, I mean, my ultimate goal is to have my own full-time personal training business where I can work for myself. I don't need to rely on an employer to find me clients. Like I can just go off and find clients on my own. So I just want to be able to generate my own income and do that full time.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
No, yeah. So I was just saying, so but you're got two other jobs,
yeah.
and
I know that's the goal. That's the long
that's
term
yeah,
goal.
right. So
Yeah,
that's the goal.
yeah,
The goal is that you're able to. And I think this is kind of 'cause I think a lot of people can relate to this. They need to work. We gotta make money. We live in a very expensive area.
yeah,
The cost of living is not cheap here, right? So people don't have, a lot of people don't have the luxury of just being like, I just put, I might need to work in addition to building my business, which does come with its own challenges in that sort of way.
yeah.
Um and so ultimately you are when do you want how do you do you wanna hope to achieve that? How soon would you like to achieve that? Where you're just strictly just working for yourself?
I would say by the end of next year. I mean, I still enjoy working at my two jobs. It's not like I am,
Okay.
you know, it's not like I want to leave. But
Okay.
yeah, because I'm still gaining a lot of experience and I'm learning so much from working with the clients I have now. Um, that I don't want to leave right away. But I would say by the end of next year, I would like to work full time. It's just yeah, yeah. It's kind of hard to tell when.
Yeah.
Um,
And maybe
but
it's when it's a more comfortably financial for you to be able to do that. I don't know, but, you've got
yeah,
2
yeah,
jobs. Do you mind sharing those 2 what are those 2 jobs? You don't have to say where you work, it's that's fine, but just to
yeah,
give us
yeah.
an idea, how much time do you spend at one versus the other and that kinda thing?
Yeah, so, at one of the job, it's a gym in Kensington, that's a gym made for everyone, but we do specialize in people with disabilities, which is
Okay,
part of the reason why I decided to apply and work there. So we work with people of all abilities, from physical, intellectual, cognitive. They do personal training as well as group fitness classes. So I also teach like their yoga class, and I also teach Zumba and yoga class as well. And then at the other, it's more of a community center. They also have like swimming pools where they do like swim lessons. Um, but there, I'm do personal training as well as teach the fitness classes for teenagers, and a boot camp class. I also received my aqua fitness certification, so I can substitute for their aqua fitness classes too. So there's a lot of opportunities there to teach different classes,
yeah, yeah,
at
yeah,
both places.
okay, okay,
Yeah, and I spend about most of my time at the one specializing in people with disabilities. I would say about 20-ish hours, and then the other one is about 10.
okay, so 10 t so 20 of
Yeah.
30 a total of, 30 hours. And is that
Yeah.
just, that's probably not even counting travel and all that kind of such stuff
Yeah.
too, right? Um,
Yeah.
and currently, do you have any, independent clients that you're working with?
Not at the moment because I'd previously worked with clients who lived in Virginia, and then I recently told them that I wanted to focus more on local clients. So I decided to, transition.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, so I'm still looking for clients of my
Okay.
own. Yeah.
Okay. And then where do you have availability to train, independent people with the commitments that you have with these 2 other locations, these 2 gyms?
So I have some availability in like afternoon. I can do early morning. I do want to create boundaries around my weekends. So I yeah, I do train some clients Sunday afternoon, but yeah, I want to limit it to one day where
So,
I'm
okay.
working on the
That's
weekend.
good. That was gonna be one thing. You cannot work 7 days a week.
I know. Yeah. Saturdays are my day off.
Okay.
Um,
Good.
that's my
Good.
boundary. Yeah, and I try not to work too late in the evening. So I don't want to work past 8 p.m. That's
Okay.
my limit. Yeah.
I'm kinda diving a little bit also more, just and you may have already thought of this, of just also preparing, like, that jump of whether, "Okay, I'm gonna need like, kind of say, I've gotta take a like, reduce hours or something like
Yeah.
that," right?
Yeah.
Um, uh, and because it is hard to grow. You've got one job, which is essentially 2 jobs is still one, where you're working for someone, you still have their commitments
Yeah.
and, obligations to them, and then you're over here trying to build your business,
Yeah.
and it's kinda can be hard to grow this when you've got so much still here. Like, there's plenty of
Mhm.
times even when I worked at my last gym where if trainers were still working at another gym but wanted to work at the gym, like, at some point, you've gotta say, "I have to let go," and have you thought about that yet of kind of like, are you seeing how your business grows and stuff first before you sort of back off? Like, at what point would it sort of make you be like, "Okay, let me" could you tell a gym I can back off in hours or can tell one of those, like, I'm just not gonna work there anymore because of your business?
Yeah. I mean, I did think about that. And I think I'm gonna start off by telling them only I can work less hours than I am now. Um, I mean, luckily it's pretty flexible. Like you can tell
Okay.
them your availability and let them
Yeah.
know like, hey, I can't work certain times or days, which is great. But yeah, I think I'm gonna start with reducing my hours and possibly finding other trainers to take my clients. And then once my business gets to a certain point where it grows, then I could think about, leaving one of them and start that process.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Also when we're talking about finances, um, other things for you to think about is, how much you're charging for your sessions.
Yeah.
Because if you're like, ultimately, my goal is to work for myself and have a completely independent business that supports me, what does that look like? What does that number need to be? And making sure that you're not, you know, um, you're, you're which you're charging for your services is, of course, showing you highlight your value and your time and all of that, that you're then not overworking your hours. When you are working for yourself, you can't ever seem to really reach where you want to with that. Um,
Mm.
uh, I don't know if you how do you feel about where you are with your pricing, if you wanted to talk about that a little bit, um, on how to kind of figure that number out. I'll be glad for us to kinda discuss that. So you let me know. What do you feel?
Yeah. I mean, I have thought about pricing. I definitely don't want to undercharge myself because I think when I first had my first private clients, I was definitely undercharging them just because I knew them and they were my previous clients, so I wanted them to get a good deal. But now I am definitely thinking about increasing them and doing monthly packages. Um, I think I'm still trying. I know you do like six packs and 12 packs, but I was thinking more towards monthly
Yeah.
packages. I don't know
Yeah.
if that will work. We will see, but
Yeah. Yeah. You can always try it. I just wanna encourage you. like, because that can be more sustainable. So you gotta figure out what you feel works right for you and your clients,
Yeah.
whether you can say, "Okay, based on their training frequency, it's X amount." Um, you know, because I've had seen where people have done it, or say they do twice a week, and you've got,
Yeah.
okay, if you're doing twice a week, every month for, I know, each month can have more than 8 training sessions based on how it is, but in their
Yeah.
eyes, if they're seeing for 8, 8 sessions for the month is X amount, actually it can kinda equal out where, because 8 times 12 is 48, so that leaves, like, 4 weeks. So if they're gone for some reason or get sick or whatever, it kinda makes them be like, "Oh, okay," like, that's where that buffer is if they're away. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, kinda thing. Because that's what I find challenging for myself about doing a monthly thing is my clients can go travel for 2 weeks and or whatever and stuff like that. But,
Right.
it's one of those things just to play with. But going back to making sure that, just some thoughts, not that we're gonna dive into what your pricing, is, but just some things I want you to think about, because since you wanna be financially stable on this, is
Yeah.
that my kind of feelings is that there's no reason to charge at least what your gym is
Yeah.
charging for their personal plus more, because 'cause you're traveling to people,
Mm.
and it's a convenience for you to be going to their home. Since that's what you're mainly planning on going to people's homes, right? I don't think I mentioned that earlier, but that's what
Yes.
what Mimi's wanting to do. And I didn't think about that when I started. I put my prices about where the gym was that I left, because I knew my value. I knew I shouldn't shortchange that and what I can give, but I didn't calculate my traveling, and that just ate up, and it just, like, so, you know, have put that in and consider that in your pricing as far as you're traveling, if you're having to pay for parking or this, that, or the other.
Mm.
So really, I feel that that trainers should charge more than what gyms charge because of that.
Mm.
A lot of times I feel
Okay.
like as trainers feel like we should flip it and we should actually charge less because we're not attached to a gym, but you have to, with business finances and taxes, you got to, there's, you know, you wanna think about whatever you're charging per session or for whatever you really get to, like, take home in your pocket to pay for living, cost of living, like, half that, maybe
Mhm.
more. So, just to
Mhm.
think about those kinds of things. Um, and I know that it can be really nervous as far as pricing and talking about that and with people and stuff like that, but um, the other thing is that you are niching down really well, which is really good. And if you don't already have, if some other education certifications, like you could end up becoming, I'm the go-to person working with people with, like disabilities and stuff. And even though it is a small in seniors, and that's not to say you're not gonna get other people, but when you niche down really small, it actually helps you out a whole lot because you're known as the go-to expert for that, and I don't know if that's any
Mm.
thoughts or things that you've had of like, "That's who I wanna be," in this area,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, I mean, I definitely find that I love working with seniors in, when I first started personal training. I recently became a personal trainer this year, and
okay, awesome.
I started working as a trainer in March. So I just started gaining my experience. But yeah, I find that the group that I decided to work with are it's a very fulfilling experience, to see the progress that they're making and hearing their stories, I think is very inspiring. So
Yeah, and I find that a lot, is just speaking specifically about seniors in our area, and I'm sure this can be, also in other, areas as well, is that as they get older, they're knowing that they're wanting extra help and they wanna go to gym. I have people that will still reach out and be like, "I am," that will ask me, will you go to do you go to homes?" And I'm like, "To see their grandparent," or something like that, and I'm like, "I don't." So there is a need, and I don't think people also don't realize that's an option too. that's an option, then be like, "Oh, wow, yeah, my mom could really benefit from that kinda thing." So but it's
Yeah.
finding those people, right? It's finding
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, it's finding those people that's the tricky and the hard part, and, so let's gain brainstorm some ideas on helping you get some clients. It sounds like because I was gonna ask you how you got your clients that were in Virginia, and you sounds like you knew them, or they were former clients. So tell me how
They
you got
were
those clients.
they were former clients. I used to work for a company that where we traveled to people's homes, and then I found there was a lot of driving I had to do because I was driving to Virginia and PG County and DC, and then ultimately I transitioned to the community gym that I work now, which is a 20-minute drive from me. But I did continue working with some of the Virginia clients. Um, but yeah, they were my previous clients, and that was how I met them.
But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so you have personal training clients at both gyms or just one gym that you currently work at?
Uh, you mean the previous clients I had or
No,
the
no, you currently at the 2, places that you work, you have personal training of both, or is it
Yes.
both?
Yes,
Okay,
both
alright,
correct. Both
okay.
gyms.
Um, so one thing to think about as far as is, 1, asking do you have to be careful on treading toes with those gems, right? Like
Yes.
I'm always and should encourage people to be respectful of wherever they're working, and so it's not like you're gonna start poaching those clients to say, "Hey, come can I come work with me, I'm going on my own," or something like that. I
Yeah.
never think that those and honestly, I think if you when you do go on your own, I feel like the non-compete clause has really changed a lot lately, even since I went on my own went out on my own. But at the same time, like, you at the same time, I was thinking, you've got a website and, you I don't know if you've got testimonials on your sites from your clients, but,
Mhm.
I don't know if any of your current ones for you to sort of ask. Because what I'm basically saying is referrals are the number one way to get business. Like,
Yeah.
it's the number one way, as you know, and, especially since I don't know if some are, already in the demographic that you work with,
Mhm.
um to um to one ask them for testimonials, say, hey, can I have testimonials in your website? I'm saying this is just an easy way to kind of like walk into talking with them to get some testimonials for your website,
Yeah.
and also to say, hey, I'm looking at I am also trying to go to people's homes to work on the business to train them. And do you have anyone that you know would be interested? I don't see there's anything wrong with you asking your clients if they know somebody. Have you tried that yet before by any chance?
Yes, I have talked with some of them.
Some of them? Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Um, did you have any luck with that? No.
Um, I I haven't gotten clients yet, but
Okay.
at least it's out there.
Yeah, it's out
At
there.
least they
Okay.
know
And
about it. Yeah.
yeah, they know about it. That's the thing about it. They know about it. That's okay. So that's good. Because a lot of times they will. And so I still think every once in a while you could bring it up of, hey, I'm still looking for I've got some openings and all that, and seeing if they have someone that they know that might be interested in them and interested in working with you. Um
Mhm.
Now, actually, before that, why don't you tell me some of the stuff you tried that's not work? Because you were sharing that a little bit with me before we got recording. So just so that other people know what you were looking at or what you've tried.
In terms of generating
Trying to
leads or
generate leads,
clients.
clients. Yeah, yeah.
So right now I've just been going to different networking events with other small business owners. I've been meeting with different people. I asked people in the health and wellness industry if they would like to collaborate. I've reached out to my previous clients to see if they knew anyone. Um, yeah, I've printed out flyers. I've actually given out a couple flyers to one senior center and one apartment building. I want to continue doing that, but I haven't done that too much. But that's
Yeah.
something that I could potentially continue doing.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking it could be a great place. There's a lot of those around here of whether you can go in and, yeah, put a flyer up, something, that they can
Mhm.
call and reach out to you. Have you had anybody reach out to you in those opportunities at all? Are those kind of up those that you tried?
I did have one phone call from someone with a different business. They do like logos and stuff, and I was mostly talking to him about creating a logo for my business. But then he did say that he was interested in training. However, we haven't like moved forward with the personal training yet. It was
Okay.
just something that he brought up.
He brought up,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Um, could that be the thing? Are you using him to create a logo?
Yeah. Potentially.
Potentially, okay,
Yeah.
okay, sometimes you wonder if whether that will come to fruition based on whether you would use him as use him in that capacity or not.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I know it can seem like, okay, you've tried several, but I think one thing is also think about the radius you're willing to travel
Yeah.
and going and the the in or since working with seniors, and we're just talking specifically with seniors, because I feel like kinda trying to find someone who with disabilities that you'd like to work with, that's sort of maybe even a different kind of, way of trying to reach those.
Hmm.
Um, uh, is there in the area or have you found, like, we have a lot of, like, apartments around here that is just for seniors. Have you
Yeah.
tried some of those yet or looked and researched and seen what's in the area for that?
Yeah, I mean, I've looked into senior living communities. Some of them already offer their own personal training
Yeah,
session, especially the big ones with like a fitness center. But yeah, I certainly haven't li- um, gone to all of them, so I
yeah,
can continue, you know, doing more research and
yeah,
going
doing more
around and yeah.
okay, and I don't know, also with some of those communities, like you said, if they don't have some of 'em will already have some kind of that provided, but then they might actually love to have that person have someone,
Mm,
possibly. You never know whether they're like if they do a lot of those communities can sometimes have events for their members or for those that live in that area, and I'm thinking, "Well, what if you could offer some sort of workshop or something like that, that,
mm,
um,
yeah.
you know basic movement patterns that every senior needs to be doing, like, to, like, share something like that or be able to I wonder if you could even post if because a lot of them might have, you can go to homes, but just say if they happen to have a gym, whether you can be like, hey, could put something that you're going to be there between this and this time and have signups. Maybe they, like I was saying, maybe they kind of do some sort of, could put you in their email list, right, to everybody, all their residents that we're going to have. Mimi's coming. She's a personal trainer that works with seniors and that how does that sound something you'd be interested or sound good to you?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that sounds like, an opportunity for me to create my own opportunities with my target audience.
Yeah,
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 absolutely. And then they can get a sense of like what personal training with me would be like, like a sample program
right,
or
and
whatever.
and
Yeah.
it makes you wonder if they have space for you to run a class or something too, right? Well, maybe it's like once
Hmm.
a week, it's like whatever kind of class format that you want. Of
Hmm.
course, you need to talk with them about how, you know, I doubt they'd let you go in there for free, but, if there's some way that they get compensated or something like that, you can or sign something as a contractor or whatever, so you just don't know. I just also have even because 'cause I've had people in Fairfax there's like a kinda senior community in Fairfax, like, hey, they need people to run classes and stuff for them, and,
Hmm.
um because getting in front of people and them seeing you and just how lovely you are and how great you're gonna be worked
Yeah.
with is obviously what the more the opportunities that you wanna try to see if you can find.
Yeah.
Um, so kinda brainstorm ideas about maybe around like that, maybe where you can sort of go and, that has and it doesn't have to be just a senior living area, so to say. Um, you could there's lots of other complexes. The thing about with working with active agers, as they're called, or whatever, is like they are great referral sources because once you
Yeah.
start working with one of them, they are telling their friends. And I alone last year, I had this one gentleman, and he told 2 of his neighbors, and they come in, right? So, like, um,
Amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's one of those ones you just gotta get the first couple, and it's gonna be hard, and sometimes getting that first couple, but you gotta figure out where you can plug in. So, alright. So right now we're
Yeah.
seeing one option is at least going to some other of these, living areas, was a whole concentration of them, um,
Yeah.
where you can maybe sort of offer some kind of workshop, class, opportunity, more than just putting a poster up, because that's great, but also, or even if, again, they haven't, what these are just different options you could give this place when you call them too, is like, "Hey, I offer this. I um, come to their home to help them. Do you ever have," like, if you're talking to the management people of whoever, of like, um, members, I keep saying members, but of your residents who are looking for personal training, you can kinda ask those sort of questions, or how much of your is an older population, or what have you,
Yeah.
and, or do they have would they mind just advertising you in their email or something like, again, hopefully that'd be a way that wouldn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
Sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
yeah, that'd be a possibility.
Um, or, again, you're offering your complimentary assessment, the more practice, the more opportunities, of course. So okay. Um, I was trying to think of some other ideas of whether there are other businesses or that in the area that would have your demographic in. And, the other sort of thought is if there's a Facebook group that's in the area that
Mhm.
you could join potentially. Of course, you gotta read kinda what the rules are, that you could maybe advertise your services in also, is another way that's not gonna cost any money. Um, this is also getting to being really clear about what you offer and how you can help them. So, I would really sort of encourage you to really make sure, what are they struggling with? What am I, um and that might take some trial and error. Use ChatGPT to help you. It's because
Okay.
it comes up with amazing ideas, right? Of what you can sort of say, just to be like, to speak to them about being able to, move better and all that kind of stuff. Um, um, but also think about the one of bringing up of like, you know, every s like, because I still have clients that'll find articles, my older clients, and they'll find those articles, movements that every senior should be able to do, or this, that, or the other, and they're always telling me about 'em, so oh, and that's an okay, just another thought. Maybe if you find something uh, that you could either write up something, you could write up an article
Mm.
about, and maybe be featured. Now, I know a lot of the local we have tons in this area of local magazines, like, we do,
Mm.
and so you'd have to kinda see around some may cost you money to be in them, so but is there one related to seniors, or is there something, again, that you could, share in some other kinda capacity? So, that's some sort of
Yeah,
thoughts on there too.
absolutely. Yeah, that could be an
Um,
idea.
yeah, um, uh the other kinda going along the lines of yeah, you just gotta think about where are these people going? Where are they looking for help or information from? And see how you can kind of plug in and get in front of them. It sounds I think you said you already talked to some healthcare providers, but, um,
I could still
some
reach out to more people. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I did, I connected with an acupuncturist who agreed to sort of do a collaboration where we, you know, refer our clients to each other, which is
yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So even with, like, physical therapists,
Yeah.
chiropractors, that kind of thing, just is I mean, it is a little of a grind of having to go through, but just trying to reach out and see if you can even, again, maybe jump on a call or just come by or something like that if you're just driving by and stop and just see if you can just connect with them on that kind of way. Um,
Yeah.
uh, um, and then, I was also just I was kind of shifting gears to, like, people with disabilities and wanting to work with that. And
Mhm.
maybe you might know a little bit better than myself just because you have a sister that has a disability, like, where do
Mhm.
you think maybe trying to find those people, where do you think you might could go to get in front of, connect with individuals like that?
Mm. I mean, I think so this past weekend, I went to a couple of, events that were, about disability awareness, like
Oh,
the one on, I went to on Saturday was the Step Up to Down Syndrome walk. Just going to these different organization and events and, yeah, community events revolved around disability awareness and meeting people and families there.
yeah. Yeah, being
Yeah,
able it
could be an
to
option.
kind of yeah, hand out your card or whatever, because um, uh, yeah, because if you're like, "I specifically work with people with disabilities," like, that would be like, like, that
Yeah.
that that's, can speak it just separates you and all that. The other thing, thinking about some of these other organizational things, like, if there's some fundraising events that are around with these, like, if you find other ones where maybe they need auction items, or
Mm,
something like that. There's a couple of options for that. One, you could do a basket of some sort just to get your name out. The other thing is to consider whether you would auction some sessions. Like,
mm,
you could do a basket and plus some sessions, like, I come to your home, you might have to be specific on the radius that you do this, right? And that kinda thing. I have gotten I have I I've gotten a very long-term like, a client I've been working with for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now,
oh,
based because
wow.
I went all in. I did a full 12 sessions for a charity event, and that's because my demographic was there. The people I work with was gonna be there, so I
That's
offered
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, I offered that, and plus you're helping back a good cause, right? So it's a win-win both ways, and, yeah, and so she's been working with me ever since based on that. So, it's, G I do, like, I wonder if there's I'm sure there's local support groups, right, for
Yeah.
people with certain ones, whether to say Down syndrome, for example,
Mhm.
um, uh, that you could probably maybe reach out to and say, see how you can advertise or share or give information or whatever out specific to those type of individuals. And, so that's a thought.
Mm, okay. Yeah, that's definitely
Alright,
an
we've
option.
talked about a lot.
Yes.
So, I saw you it looks like you're writing some stuff down, so tell me
Yeah.
your kind of thoughts. Let's sort of recap. What's your sort of game plan? What are you kinda thinking your next steps be?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have some action items. I could definitely look into senior centers around my area and come up with some workshops or classes that I can offer. I could research fundraising events, local support groups. Yeah, the local magazines was something I haven't thought of. That was yeah, that was eye opening, and reaching out to apartment buildings to be a part of their newsletter, I think was also another option. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. I mean, it's some
so
work
yeah.
and it is. Building a business it is, and um it just takes some time and some grind, and my encour is also to help you feel successful in your journey there, because I think sometimes it can be when you can be overwhelmed with, like, or what you need to do or what needs to get done or this isn't working. One thing,
Mhm.
always remember your why. Why are you doing this? Your ultimate goal, your ultimate not your goal, but your ultimate reason behind wanting to work for yourself. We didn't dive into that specifically on what that is for you, but make sure you keep that really clear because when you're in the grind of this, you gotta remember this is really ultimately what I want, and this is why this is so important to me, and that I need this. So keep that in mind. Um,
Mhm.
the other thing is that give yourself like if your list of action items of like go here da 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 da, like it's kind of some of this is sort of broad. So you're going to start getting really specific. I want you to sort of like as you write down
Yeah.
like okay, here's what I'm go here's here and see what you can at least do one thing a day.
Mm.
If you can do
Okay.
more, but at least what feels successful for you, if I can just do one thing that gets me a little closer. And again, just because someone says no doesn't mean the next person is, right? You just don't know what it's going to be that's gonna help you get those first few and help you just sort of trajectory off of that. Because 'cause I'm
Mhm.
telling you, once I feel like you get especially again in your niches that you have, once you get a few of those clients that you'll be getting referrals and friends and all, people to that. And so kind of look at your list. Where do you want to start and try to do one action item at least a day? If you want to up that, that's fine, but I don't want you to feel like it's a failure if you can't. What is like, if you had, or if maybe one a day is too much with everything and you just need, I got 3 a week. These are my 3 focuses that I'm going to try to do this week.
Yeah.
And that's sort of, and have it written out. I'm a big word list writer.
Yeah,
Have
yeah.
stuff written out that can help you can cross off or whatever and that kind of thing. Um, and the other thing to think about when you go these places, if they're say, no, that's just, I can't, that's not how we work. We already have somebody or this, that, or we have to hire, ask them, "Well, do you know anybody who would be?" Like, ask them for
Mm.
referrals, not necessarily for clients, right? But is there someone else that they know that you could reach out to, that you could advertise your services on? So it's kind of, you know, that's another way to sort of, like, see,
Yeah. So
okay,
it's
and
not just a no.
yeah, it just not
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, not just take that. So, and I think that can sort of, well, of course, that will give you some more ideas and stuff, but then can also narrow down maybe more things and more people that might be. So, all right, Mimi.
All right.
All right. Any last questions, thoughts, anything that you would, as we sort of wrap up?
Um, no, I don't have any further questions. Thank you so much, Jen. I
You're
really appreciate the
welcome.
brainstorm, and I definitely have more ideas now for how to move forward.
Okay. I would love for you to send me an update in a few months and let me know how it's going. I would love for you also to send me a brag. Like if you get that first client, I would love for you to tell me. You can
Okay.
always respond back to any of the emails I send out and brag on yourself and just say you got it or how you got it. Because also, when hearing how you do that helps me with other people that are, can also give more examples and stuff like that. So thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate
Yeah.
you taking the time. And for anyone that's listening and you are either thinking about taking the leap from the gym to work for yourself or you already have, but you're also sort of like, I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. Go to the Solo Trainer website and get the guidebook. Mimi was telling me before how helpful it was for her for starting her business because it's literally the list of steps of everything that you need to do to think about from starting your business from legally, financially, ways to grow it, build it, all those sorts of things. It's a free guide. So check it out and get that. So until next time. All right. Thank you again, Mimi, and to everyone else out there. Here's the great that awaits.